Okay, this video today is all about pumping right after birth in those first few days before your milk is in. So which pump I'm going to use is the one that I highly recommend, which is the Spectra S2. And I love this breast pump because multiple things, but one, it's quiet. It can pump both sides and it has a night light. Also, it's a closed system, which means that when you are pumping breast milk, there's no way that the breast milk condensation is going from your breast through the tubing back to the pump. So that means it's a closed system, and I'll explain that in a second. So let me grab the pump real quick. All right, so this is the Spectra S2, and I only have it hooked up to one, but this is the pump parts right here. So first of all, we're gonna go over all of the pump parts. All right, so this is the piece that is part, sorry, dog hair, that is the closed system part. So this one comes apart into three pieces. Okay, so this is what happens is when the breast pump goes and it's pumping, it's not pulling the condensation back from your breast into the tubing into the back of the pump. So before they made closed system breast pumps, some of the old Modellas used to have a bunch of black mold like behind the faceplate of the machine, because all that condensation was going back to the breast pump, and that's a huge risk for bacteria and major infection in your breast milk. So I highly recommend you get a closed breast pump and make sure that's not going back to the tubing. If it's a hands-free pump, then really the breast milk's going right in. It's the whole mechanism, so you're not going to have anything closed. So just make sure you keep those very clean. So this little piece right here, as you can see, it's pulling from one side and then it's just going into the milk on the other, so they don't connect. Then, if you guys don't know this already, this is the flange. This is a 28 millimeter. So almost every single breast pump that I know of comes with two standard flange sizes, a 24 millimeter and a 28 millimeter. And let me tell you, they are way, way, way too big for the majority of women's nipples. So if you haven't watched that video, go back and watch the one on how to measure your proper flange size. So this is the flange. As you can see, the Spectra, it comes with the whole thing together where it's going to screw onto the bottle, where if you get some other pumps like Modella, this flange part is separate and then you push it onto the part that connects to the bottle. So all of them are a little different, and if you do need a different flange size, what I recommend is that you actually probably keep the 24 standard, the standard 24 millimeter size, and then just get silicone inserts. Make sure you get the long ones so they go all the way down, and that makes the small hole, the hole smaller, instead of having to purchase a whole new flange set. If you want to buy a whole new flange set, that's fine too. So you have that. Then you have these little duckbill pieces. So if you can see here how it opens and closes. So this is the little piece that's going to hook onto the flange. And this is what creates that suction, so your breast pump can work. Now, I have to say, these aren't the right ones that go with this one, because it will not, it's making the noise when I turn it on, but it's not actually suctioning. So when you purchase these little duckbill pieces for the pumps, you want to make sure you get the one specific to your pump. If you don't, then there's the potential that it's not going to work. It's not going to seal properly. So this one was from my friend's LV, and it doesn't actually work on the Spectra. So that's why you need to make sure you have the proper duckbill pieces that go with your breast pump. And these you actually want to change over about every 6 months or so, just because once it's slightly opened a little bit, here, take it off again. All right, so once it is kind of popping open a little bit like that, the suction isn't as good, so you do want to replace them. Okay, all right, so you're gonna have all those together, and you are going to have that. And then you have your whole bottle hooked up together, and then you're just gonna hook it up to this. So if you can see, there's a smaller side and a bigger side. That one's gonna go to your pump pieces, and then this one's gonna go to the tubing like this, and then like this. Okay, so you have everything together, okay? So now what you're going to do is I'm going to explain the pump a little bit for you. Oops, I just disconnected it. Sorry, I'm trying to reach my cord that's over here. I could not find a extension cord to save my life. I couldn't find one. All right, so this is the Spectra pump, and I'm gonna stand up to kind of show you. So here is the power button. So what you're gonna do in the first 24 hours, whether you have a Spectra or any pump, is you are going to pump for only about 15 to 20 minutes, and you are going to let the letdown phase go for the full 2 minutes. So when you turn on most pumps, when you turn it on, it automatically starts the slow, long drawn out pulls, and you can hear the pump. It goes pretty slow, and that's the one that you do not want to start on. So right when you turn it on, you want to hit this button up top, and then that's the fast one. It's going quick, short spurts, and that's called the letdown phase button. This is important because this is helping your body create that letdown, and it goes automatically in most pumps for about 2 minutes. And in the first 24 hours or for the first few days while your milk isn't in, you do want to do this setting for the full 2 minutes, because your body's probably not going to be creating a letdown very easily, and you most likely won't feel it. So I want you to do this for the full 2 minutes. So if we turn it off again, as soon as you turn on your pump, you already have it on your breast or you're holding it in your lap, you're gonna turn it on and you're automatically gonna hit the letdown button. And this is gonna go for 2 minutes, and it should go automatically for 2 minutes. If it doesn't, then you're gonna hit this button again after 2 minutes, and then you're gonna do the long drawn out one, and you're gonna do this for the remaining, 13, 14 minutes, okay? And then just play with your settings, right? So right here, you have the cycle. This kind of shows like different cycles that it can go on, and this one you can really play with. And this is kind of like the strength, and then this is the speed of the vacuum, okay? So that one's going a little faster, and then this one's going a little lower, and then you can increase the suction. So this pump is really great because you get to kind of play with it and figure out what exact a combination is going to work best for you. So I really encourage you to play with this before delivery, probably right before delivery, as long as you're like over 37 weeks. You can play with your pump every once in a while and just kind of feel the settings and play with it a little bit, just so you know what to do with it. And then obviously here's the light. It's 2 different settings. You have a spot in the back for to put one of your bottles down. But I really encourage you, this one has 2 holes, is you do want to do both breaths at the same time, okay? And then after you're done, this pump automatically runs for 30 minutes, so you will have to shut it off 15, but it's also nice because it has the timer right here for you, so you don't have to watch the clock or anything like that. And that's why I really love the Spectra. Okay, so that's the pump parts. And then what I want to say, so the plan is, say for example, you latch your baby in the first golden hour and it is so extremely painful, or your baby's just crying at the breast and crying and you can't get them latched, you still want to make sure you are taking out breast milk, whether that's breastfeeding, pumping, or hand expression. So what I encourage you to do is to pump first, do that full 2 minutes of the letdown, then the rest of the 13 minutes for the long and drawn out one, the maintain phase. Okay, you're gonna do that for 15 minutes, okay? You can do 20 if you want to, but 15 to 20 minutes, and you're gonna do that, and then you're gonna hand express after. You're gonna hand express for like another, 5 to 10 minutes or so, and really kind of massage the breast and pull all that colostrum forward. And really your main goal is to fully empty the breast and then to still feed your baby some colostrum, whether that's fresh or frozen colostrum. But I really encourage you to still always feed your fresh colostrum first and then supplement with some frozen if you didn't get enough. And now it's normal in the beginning to not get a lot. Just remember that. You might only get like 0.5 or 0.7 in one of these small feeding syringes. What I have here, so these are the feeding syringes that we have at the hospital, and this is what I encourage you, they should all have them. And basically, if you can see, it goes all the way to 1 millimeter. Okay, so 1 millimeter. And this is normal. This is normal to not fill this whole thing in the beginning. And that's okay. So that's what I want you to do, is to pump, and you're going to do that for the first few days of life. You're only going to pump about 15 to 20 minutes, but you still always want to try and attempt the baby on the breast first and then pump after, and then after that you can pump or hand express after. But that's what I really encourage you to do. So this is why I tell all moms to bring their pump to the hospital just in case. Because like I said, I've had so many different scenarios in my 8 years of doing this where we weren't able to bring the mom a breast pump. Like, it has happened. Like, I hate to talk about nursing shortages and everything, but that's the honest truth. And I want to bring full transparency that there might not be lactation there to help after birth. And usually most of our lactation doesn't help until you're over here on the postpartum side. It's the L&D nurses or the transition that's taking care of the baby help with that first feeding after birth. And if they're not available and they need to run somewhere else and you're struggling to breastfeed, then you can just pump and hand express and then try again with the next feeding. But really you want to focus on more about frequency. So that's why I say only like 15 minutes in the first few days of life. Once your milk is in, you feel your breasts are tender, they're heavier. You're feeling more hardened areas where the breast ducts are kind of filling up with milk. Then that's when you want to move to about 30 minutes. You want to fully empty the breast and you want to go until it stops spraying. And then ultimately, once your milk is in, this is when you're going to start to feel that letdown, which most women feel it. It's like a little contraction in your breast and it feels tingly, like a tingly sensation. And that's when that first button, that letdown button, that quick one, that's when you want to only use that until you feel that tingly sensation. Once you feel that tingly sensation or you start seeing milk spraying in the flange, like when this is hooked up to your breast and you start, like you look down and there's milk spraying in here, that means you're having a letdown. So you want to then hit the other button for the maintain and the long, slow, drawn out one, and that's gonna pull out your milk for the remaining 30 minutes. So I don't suggest pumping for 30 minutes unless it's after birth and you're still trying to keep up your supply for a potential tongue tie or anything like that. Or if you choose to exclusively pump, then that too. So those are my top tips. So make sure you have all your supplies, make sure you have your breast pump in your bag, you have your correct flange sizes. I also like the Earth Mama Angel nipple butter, which I put on the inside of the tunnel and the flange on the outside, so it's a nice lubrication. I love that. And then just make sure you have your breast pump and everything is ready to go, just in case your baby doesn't breastfeed after delivery and you just want to focus on stimulation those first couple days to make sure your body is getting that message to bring your milk in. That is super, super important. And I tell moms, it's don't get stressed if your baby's not breastfeeding. There are so many different factors on what's going on. They could be having some tight neck. They had a long labor. You know, they might have a headache. I see some babies that just like cry at the breast, and they just seem like they're in too much pain to want to nurse. And I know it's hard, but in that time you want to hand baby off to dad or somebody else or another support person, grandparent, and then you just want to pump and hand express and then just still take out the milk and don't wait too long. Like if it's been 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes and you're fussing and you're still trying to breastfeed, just pump, hand express, wait a few minutes, do some skin to skin, and then just attempt another time when they're showing you cues. Like it's never a wrong time. Like if you can't breastfeed, there's always possibility to get your baby back to the breast, but there's not always a possibility to play catch up and get your milk supply back to what it needs to be. So that's why I really focus on getting your milk in and setting that foundation for your milk supply for the next few weeks, because you can always get your baby back to the breast. My son didn't nurse directly on the breast without a nipple shield until 5 weeks of life. And he was able to do that for 13 months after. So it is possible. However, when I have moms come up to me and they ask me, hey, you know, my baby's 5 months old, can I relactate? It's not possible. Like there might be some, but nothing comparable. Like these first few moments and days are really, really crucial to set you up for success. So if they're not breastfeeding, and to not stress you out and not hear your baby constantly cry, I just recommend pump for 15 minutes and then hand express, give your fresh milk, and then supplement with some of your frozen colostrum if you have some. All right, let me know if you have any questions about this video below or in the private Facebook group, and we will chat soon.